Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2026 Los Animas County Fair Country Roots and Cowboy Boots. We're going to get started here in just a while. We got about 5 minutes till we start. We're going to start with senior showmanship. Ages 14 to 18 need to be getting ready. Michael Archuleta, Alec Baca.
You heard it, folks, straight from Brock Brunelli himself. Welcome back. It's the GOAT Show here at the 2026 Los Animas County Fair. This is the largest livestock contest of the afternoon. Total of 44 market goats, 3 large classes of showmanship. Contestants will get us started. We'll start senior showmanship and then intermediates, followed by the little guys. Winners of each age division will advance to compete in the round robin showmanship on Saturday morning. I'm joined here today by the one and only Brody Doherty and Elise Comden. She's working the camera. Brody, how we doing this morning?
Doing pretty well, Mr. Brad. We woke up bright and early. I mean, it wasn't terrible. 8:30 is not too terrible early for the sheep show. So this is show number 2 of 3 that we're stoked to bring you. So we're ready and rolling.
We are ready. 8:30 might not be early in the grand scheme of things, but for college students still on summer break, that is crack it on.
Exactly. Well, I mean, for this college student, it's been interesting. For about the last 4 days, it's been a 5:30 wake-up call. We were doing some hiking, so we were climbing mountains, wanted to hit the trailhead early, and I've been spending this week as the nighttime security guard. So not only have I been getting up at 5:30-ish to open up animals, but also waking up at 2 to make sure nothing gets out in the middle of the night.
Whew.
So
rocking and a rolling. Talk about rock and rolling. You mentioned it. Let's show the folks at home the schedule coming up for the rest of today and tomorrow and the next day. 5 o'clock tonight will be the beef show. Tomorrow we're at it bright and early again, 8:30 a.m. for the swine show, followed by the little animals, the feathers and the fuzzies, the rabbits and poultry show at 10:30 a.m. And then Saturday morning we'll have the round robin showmanship contest, followed by that evening at 6 o'clock, the entire market sale. That one's always a lot of fun. So make sure you don't miss any of the action. Find us, all of our broadcasts, right here on the Saddle Rock Sports YouTube channel. We are glad you are here.
indeed. And while we are here, I feel like it may be important for us to reference that we are not professional animal commentators. Mr. Brad and I are much more suited to the likes of, the hardwood and the gridiron as far as commentating goes. So we'll chip in, we'll share our thoughts. But if you're looking for high caliber, goat-related commentary, I hate to disappoint you. But we'll chip in where we can with our thoughts. But we're here for fun. It'll be a fun time. Just started. Like we said, we're starting with senior showmanship. In the first show of the day, we had Hope Vernier take away senior championship first place. And she will be showing her goat in this showmanship as well. So could go back to back for Hope.
And folks, I just noticed that our stream just came up a few seconds ago. So
Oh.
all of that beautiful introduction we did, Brody, that was just for our sole entertainment. You are here. We are all here together. It's the second show of the 2026 Los Animas County Fair. Cowboy boots and
Is it Country
what?
Roots,
Country
Cowboy
Roots,
Boots?
Cowboy boots. Fun theme. It's been a neat time.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, let's
Here
get
we
this
go.
started. Our senior meat goat showmanship. Michael Archuleta, Alec Baca, Braylee Foster, Coy Foster, Regan Mosman, Sorrow Mosman, Paisley Teaganson Roman, Hope Vernier, Holly Ward, Katie Ward, Brooklyn Winner, Chase Winner, and Cooper Winner.
Got a whole slew of senior showmen in the ring.
I have 13 on my list. Kind of working our way from right to left on the screen. We have Hope Vernier, Holly Ward, Katie Ward, Brooklyn Winter, Chase Winter, Regan Mosman, Alec Baca, Coy Foster, Michael Archuleta, Sarl Mosman, Rayleigh Foster, and rounding it out, Cooper Winter. 13 senior showmen in the ring.
Sure, we'll do our best to keep everything in frame for you and get a get good picture of the showmen as they get set up. We've got a few goats that are a little less cooperative today, but
We welcome today's judge, Mr. Cooper Carlson out of Stoneham, Colorado. He is a resource specialist at the Colorado State Land Board, as well as a purebred partner at Line Ag. His education and background includes NJC in Sterling, University of Wyoming in Laramie, livestock judging at both of those respective schools. He operates Carlson Livestock and raises Sim Angus cattle and shows goats for 4-H kids. Let's give Cooper Carlson a Los Animas County round of applause.
Judge Cooper Carlson in the ring today. He judged the sheep show earlier today, and he will be joining us for the beef show. He's got backgrounds in all three animals, like our colleague on the mic, Mr. Brock Brunelli, mentioned. It's always fun to watch the senior showmanship. This is where, yeah, they're judging the shower and not necessarily the animal. So the intensity in these kids' faces as they're staring down the judge, like they want him to know that they're taking this seriously. I guess. I think that's how showmanship works.
Lots of focus right now. Always like to see it.
I also find it interesting sometimes the tools that these folks will use in the ring. Is you see some of these goats have the long halters where you've got people holding it by the chain
Intermediate
away.
goat showmanship, ages 11 to 13, need to be getting ready. Lily Amato, Jax Baca, Kaysen Martinez, Jacob Ramos, Torrance San Roman, Jody Stodgill, Charlie White, Jolie Ward, and Grace Zamora.
So I was just saying, it's interesting seeing like you've got folks with the chain that keep it high and away from the animal, but then they post up with their hands on the head, but some people just walk with their hands on the head of your animal the whole way. So I'm curious if it's personal preference and like what your animal responds better to, um, or just what. Yeah,
A lot of it is a style preference, showman to showman. Um, and what kind of allows you that control over that animal to really show it off and to show your skill as a showman.
I think Judge Carlson told us earlier. Judge Carlson told us earlier in the sheep show that he enjoys coming up to every showman, especially in the showmanship, and asking him a question. I think the question he said he asked is just, "Tell me about your animal." And these are senior showmen; they should know their animal pretty darn well. A lot of them probably had hands in picking them out from either from a breeder or breeding them up themselves, or so testing their knowledge. It's pretty fun to see.
Yeah, as we approach the brunch hour, the Red Rocks 4-H Club is set up immediately behind us with the wind in a very advantageous direction for them as they're grilling up burgers and all the yummy things coming our way.
I will say that's very clever advertising on their behalf. They can get the wind working for them.
Yes, that is marketing. You can't put a dollar figure on that.
Exactly.
Actually, you can. $4 for a cheeseburger. That's pretty reasonable.
That is fair.
I think they'll be getting $4 of my money here very soon.
Exactly.
And folks, we will have the entire market sale here on the Saddle Rock Sports Network on Saturday afternoon. Now, we will be broadcasting it, but you cannot bid online. So if you actually want to bid on one of the animals, you do need to be present here in Trinidad at the fairgrounds as a buyer. And if you are registered as a buyer, you get to participate in a delicious buyer's dinner. It's always big, huge steaks, potatoes, all the yummy fixins. So come on out Saturday afternoon. That the sale starts at 6. I believe the buyer's dinner probably starts at 4. I don't know the exact time, but that's usually kind of what it is.
I believe that's right, 2 hours prior.
13 senior showman. The judge has made his first pass through. No major events scheduled after this one. So he's got all the time in the world. I hope the goat show does not run till 5 o'clock this evening when the beef's scheduled to start.
You know, we'd definitely be here for it. We would definitely broadcast it to you, but I wouldn't necessarily mind a brief pause in the activity.
Looks like the judge is kind of meandering back and forth, seeing if he can catch any showman slacking off, losing that concentration.
You know, I also think it's interesting he hasn't had him walk too much. He's had him line up on the right side. He's had him line up on the left side, but not too much else. And we noticed that in the sheep show. He had him walk the once, walk the twice, and that was about it. So I like this judge being very discerning.
Our champion senior showmanship sponsor is Dale and Samantha Yoakum. If Dale and Samantha Yoakum are here, please come to the award stand to present the award.
Senior showmanship sponsors being announced there.
You know, they mentioned something interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up again. But this year for the championship, I think of either, I'm not sure if it was also for showmanship or if it was for all the champion awards, but it's not just belt buckles this year. I think they're giving the champions an opportunity to pick their prize. I know in previous years they've done such things as like folding chairs that you can have customized. You can put your name on them. You can also do. They've also done like duffel bags in the past, stuff of the nature. I think you could still choose a buckle if that's what you so desired, but I like the idea of you can mix it up if you want.
And it appears that our judge has pulled off the bottom 4 showmen in the class as he's given some one-on-one tips to the exhibitors. Chase Winter there, getting some pointers.
Tell you what, though, we've got a high-quality crop of goat showmen here. These are people that have, yeah, they know their stuff. Like
And that's one of the fun things about being involved in the county fair is it's a family adventure. You know, it's fun to look at each and every one of these showmen and saying, hey, I know each of those young competitors personally. And, you know, in larger communities, you just don't get that. That's not kind of how it works. But here in smaller settings, more rural settings, everybody knows everybody. And so it's neat to see those come out to play and compete and do their best. Seen lots of these young men and women compete athletically, football, volleyball, basketball. So it's fun to see them in this side of their competitiveness. I kind of lost what I was going to say there at the end.
that's okay.
It's only our second show that we got a lot of chit chatting to do here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you are watching at home, we do appreciate you being here. One thing that would help us out tremendously is if you would share this video with other folks that also would potentially enjoy it. It's funny, we've been advertising our fair coverage all week, you know, every other day for the last couple of weeks on our Facebook channel, and I had one of our previous sponsors approach me earlier today and said, Brad, I didn't know you were going to be here. So even though we put things out on Facebook, it doesn't always get
Ladies
out
and
to
gentlemen,
everyone
make
we
sure
want.
to check out one of the vendors, the Red Rocks 4-H Club. They got burgers, hot dogs,
So yeah, we
candy,
appreciate
and
each of you
desserts.
watching, and it would
Go
really
ahead
help
and check
more
out
people
your
enjoy it
local 4-H
if
club.
you would take just a minute, copy this link to the video, share it out on Facebook so everyone else can enjoy. We just had an announcement about that Red Rocks 4-H Club concession. All right, we've had the discussions with the bottom 4 contestants. He's going to the next tier. Pulls out Regan Mosman. Just celebrated a birthday last week. And Braylee Foster. Braylee, one of the track standouts in Colorado, had a very successful track season. Goes to Honey High School, where she will be a senior this coming year, or maybe a junior. I'll have to ask our camera woman, Elise, what year will Braylee be? A junior is our official word from Elise Comden. Michael Archuleta also pulled out of the top group. He'll be in that middle tier as well. And then there were five at the top. As the judge goes and chats with Regan Mosman, she'll be a sophomore this year. She and our camera woman, Elise Comden, play sports for the Kim Mustangs. They co-op with Branson. Top 5 of this class will be Cooper Winter, Sarl Mosman, Katie Ward, Holly Ward, and Hope Vernier. Actually, a burger, bro. Got a little inside track into the food order. Red Rocks 4-H Club about to make a little money from the Saddle Rock Sports production booth. Starting to warm up. Glad we have a nice area of shade. Judge just finished chatting with Braylee Foster. Now he's giving some more tips to Michael Archuleta. Michael will be a junior at Branson School. Yeah. Junior at Branson this year. He plays football, basketball out in Branson. We mentioned to you we have 44 market entries, 13 entries in this showmanship class. Intermediates have 9 showmen, and the youngest, also the junior showmen, have 9 as well. So always good to see the showmanship entries. Ooh, back to the action, top 5. And at least really kind of focus in on what they're doing now. Judge gonna get him out and moving. Faith Vernier, Holly Ward, Katie Ward, Sarl Mosman, and Cooper Winter. 5 very dialed in showmen here. These top 5 showmen all tied to the Branson Kim community. Cooper Winter will be a senior at Branson. Sarl Mosman plays basketball for the Kim Branson Mustangs. Holly and Katie Ward go to Des Moines High School but live just outside of Branson. And Hope Vernier just graduated Branson School. Lives right in Branson as well. 5th place looks like it's going to be Cooper Winter. Sarl Mosman will place 4th here today. Down to the Ward sisters and the sheep showman champion, Hope Vernier. Ollie Ward places 3rd. And he gave the indication. I couldn't see how I read his
That's right. Let's give him a big round of applause here.
fingers.
Man, a very, very fun set of senior showmen to work through here, and that's one thing that I really do enjoy is showmanship. Those of you who miss the sheep show, I really do enjoy showmanship and getting to talk with each and every one of the exhibitors. And showmanship, above all else, is a personal preference on the judges' day. We talked with a young lady back here, and I'll probably bring it up again about some different things that I prefer and I want to see today in this particular class. And then the judge tomorrow might say, do not do that. And that's just sometimes the luck of the draw, sometimes just being a senior and having your head on straight and trying to make that decision. I know that there's a lot of things going and just trying to make sure that you can show your animal off, hide its flaws. I think that's what showmanship is. You don't have to have the grand champion in showmanship by any means. And I think that is what I try to stay true to as much as possible. I think this top 3, this top 5 are very, very good, splitting hairs, especially our top 3. Then we get into our top 2, and I think these 2 young ladies have done an excellent job the entire time. They came out on fire and on all cylinders. I'm a very intense person. I like to see the fire and the drive in the showman and in their eyes, and I can tell about 3 steps in if we're here just because or if we're here to win it. And I think that these 2 have rose to the top in so many aspects, not only making sure that they're good in terms of the way that they show their animal, but making sure their animals are fit up correctly, they're fresh, they're ready to go, they're clean, and they're dialed in. And so I applaud you 2 young ladies. Young lady who's going to win this deal. I really do think you were just a bit quicker than everybody else in this, all right? I think when I went off to the front, you were one of the first to show me their chest. You got off to the side. When I switched sides, you came over to the other side real nice like, and I think that's real important. And then on top of that, your goat, I think, has worked the most for you. I think showmanship is a dance, and if your partner's two-stepping and you're tangoing, it's not going to work. But when we're both in sync, I think that's what you showed off today. Your goat's hardly moved a muscle. He's set up, ready to go. He's bracing. I think even though you're a taller showman, you're still getting a lot out of that weather. You're making sure that you can get that knee into his chest and into his shoulder. You're making sure that goat's pushing back on you, so congratulations. The one here in reserve, I think, pushes our champion quite a bit in a lot of ways. She's an excellent showman in terms of just the intensity and style that she does. I'd like to see maybe in terms of when you lead the pack, you're doing an excellent job getting set up. What happens after you, it's no big deal, right? As long as you get set where you need to be and you try to let the rest follow in, because whatever happens is none of your concern. When you get up to the front, though, I think in terms of just being speedy and quick, you were there. But then we kind of let the goat relax just a little bit too much. Like right now, I'm looking at him, and I'd like to see that one's front end either doing that or pop him up right now. Okay, if he looked like that the entire time, it would have been a different story. I thought you got a little relaxed. That goat got underneath itself, not really wanting to show him off quite like you needed to. And so I think if we can stretch him out, making sure that you know where I'm at, but then making sure, hey, our goat's moved a front leg or two. This is senior showmanship. We got to be dialed in. That's what got you beat today. But congratulations goes off to you. The one here in third, an excellent job the entire time. Really thought, like I said earlier, that it was very close. I thought in terms of making sure that our goat was dialed in and getting set up, you're propping the front end. That's what needs to happen with this big guy. But when we went over to the side and I wanted to see their chest and switch over, you were those top 3 ladies that were up front. You were the last one to do so. And actually in the first round, you didn't go off to the side and then switch sides. Okay, that is a time when I think that you are allowed to go in front of the judge in order for me to see their shoulder, things like that. The second time we did it, you did it just fine, but it's those minor things that got you beat. Your goat's wanting to give out on you just a little bit as much as the top 3. That's why you sat third. The one here in fourth, an excellent job. I love the calmness and collectiveness that this young lady has with her weather. Now, that's a tall, lengthy girl on top of a smaller goat, right? And that goat's not even that small. It's just how long your legs are. Yet you're doing it good in terms of trying to get that one to brace, making sure that feet, so that you have the leverage to push back into into your goat, making sure that their nose goes. What I think that got you beat is you were just missed a little bit more. I thought those 3 young ladies in front of you maybe did things that just set themselves apart with its how they transition their bodies. I rather have your hips going into the goat instead of off to the side, and so maybe moving that right leg to the back, and then you can get a little bit more leverage and be able to push into that weather so that he can drive back into you and you're not going to topple over. I think that's my style. I understand what you're doing here and you're comfortable there, but I prefer that if we just switch that around just a little bit. Small details that got you beat. Young man here in fifth, excuse me. A very nice job for sure. That's what got you up top. Your goat was always the one that was in the back of the pack, and then on that last lap, he was the one that was wanting to be the biggest knucklehead, right? He wasn't wanting to lead. He wasn't wanting to get out and go. It doesn't matter to me if you show with a halter or with a collar today or any time. I think whatever you can do to make your goat look the best, that's what needs to happen. But if they're not leading with the halter, we maybe need to try with a collar to try to get them out and go. If they're not doing either, we got some issues to work on at home. I think what happened, though, besides that goat not wanting to work with you and wanting to be drug around on that last lap, we're missing our front feet right here. We're not getting the most out of our goat, all right? I know that he had some issues, but we got him here to show at the Los Animas County Fair, and so congratulations on getting him back into the ring, getting him back here and dialed in. But we got to ask ourselves just a little bit more of that goat. That goat's got to be able to perform in showmanship when it gets this tough, but congratulations. As we move on down, I went ahead and talked to everybody more individually. We'll talk about them briefly, though, as we go out. Young man at the red goat. Goat wasn't wanting to work with you, things like that. We got to make sure our hands are correct. We got to make sure that we're getting after our weather just a little bit more. Young lady right here, this is what we talked about earlier, being a senior and having your head on the swivel. You got pushed back to the side. I would told the young lady I'd prefer if you just go to the back, set up, because showmanship, you want to make sure that you're seen. You want to make sure that you have your head on a swivel, and if somebody blocks you out, hey, we got to make sure that we're going to be able to be seen. And so that's one of those things where I think if you move to the back of the line, set it back up, get yourself collected, and then ready to rock and roll. A judge tomorrow might say absolutely not. This judge would have preferred it. That's what happens in showmanship. And then as we continue to move on, I think a very nice job all the way through. We got some minor things just trying to get ourselves to brace those weathers just a little bit tougher, to make sure that we want to get pushing and going and things like that. Young lady, I think you were actually the one that got pushed back, right? And so if we can do those kinds of things, the ones with horns, we got to make sure that our hands are correct. If we're constantly on our horns the entire time, it'd be like me tugging on your ear, right? We got to make sure that our hands are centered around the head so that we're not bugging those goats, making sure that our goats are working with us the entire time. Everybody, let's give these seniors a big round of applause as they go ahead and exit the ring.
Senior meet goat showmanship, ages 14-18, 12th place, Chase Winner. 11th place, Coy Foster. 10th place, Alec Baca. 9th place, Brooklyn Winner. 8th place, Reagan Mosman. 7th place, Braylee Foster. 6th place, Michael Archuleta. 5th place, Cooper Winner. 4th place, Sorrow Mosman. 3rd place, Holly Ward. 2nd place, Hope Vernier. And your champion senior showmanship, it goes to Katie Ward.
There you go, folks. Katie Ward takes it. She'll get to compete in the round robin showmanship contest on Saturday morning. That starts at 9 o'clock. Intermediate showman up now.
Entering the ring, Lily Amato.
And here they come.
Kason Martinez. Jacob
It's going to be
Ramos,
Jolie
Lawrence
Ward,
Coleman, Jody
Jack
Sanchez,
Baca,
Charlie Wade, Jolie Ward, and Grace Zamora.
and I believe that's Kason Martinez. Then Lily Amato, Charlie Waite, and
I think it's Jody's. Wait, hold on. I think that's Jody Stacho at the very end. Or is that Grace Zamora? I don't know. We've got a couple names on our list that are not. Oh, okay. So the young man third in line from the front is Jody Stacho, and I think the person last in line is Grace Zamora.
so 9 original entries, only 6 at the moment.
Our Champion Intermediate Showmanship Award is donated by Dale and Samantha Yoakum. If they are here, please come to the award stand to present the award.
Just announced over the PA that the award for this intermediate champion out of this class, sponsored by Dale and Samantha Yoakum. I'm sure many of you watching right now familiar with the round robin contest on Saturday. Each species and age winner, senior, intermediate, and junior, get to compete with their own animal for about 5 minutes, and then they rotate to a different species. So it really tests not just how well your animal is, but what is your skill across different animals in the show ring. And it's always interesting watching that one, because by the end of that one, the pigs are done, the animals are getting tired.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out one of our vendors, D's Lemons. They have lemonade, limeade, and orangeades.
Lots of yummy things. Well, I'm not sure you're seeing it on the camera, but photographer J.C. Sumter has knees of steel. She really makes an effort to get down at animal level. And my 50-year-old legs just kind of cringe.
They hurt just watching.
They hurt just watching. Knowing, wow, that's a lot of reps today, tomorrow, and probably on sale day too. After this contest, we'll obviously have the junior showmanship, the youngest of all the classes. And then I'm not sure the order of events. Sometimes they'll go straight into the market classes. Sometimes they'll have an open class to begin with. We'll just see how they decided to structure it this time. Total of 6 market classes. As we mentioned, 44 animals. It's always fun to see as these contests with a few more exhibitors brings out the larger crowds, a few more family members, aunts and uncles, and outlaws and in-laws in the stands. Up there's the ref. He's trying to, the judge, the ref, trying to catch him off guard. He may have caught one or two. I don't know.
You know, I think I'd quite like to see a livestock judge with, you know, more of like a reffing job.
Like
you
with a
know?
whistle
Like,
and a flag that you throw.
Oh, your goat's not set up correct. You throw a flag on him. He's like, try again.
Well, we also just finished World Cup coverage. Would you have the yellow card? Would you go yellow card a steer? And then if you red card the showman, he's out. No, you wouldn't want to do that. But.
No. I would say perhaps maybe even one of like the Red Robin styles where people are like walking back and forth to the different barns. It's like, oh, too slow, red card. You got to go back and re-show the pig.
Here we have the judge talking with Jody Stodgel, giving him those pointers for the next time. And this is always good, I think, in terms of making a good impression on the judge, because you'll be back here in just a little while with your market animal in the market contest. So always good to be respectful, to make a good impression, and to be teachable in these moments. Even if you didn't, finish as well as you wanted to, how do you handle adversity in a loss? Kind of really displays, I think, even more character than how do you handle success. So being teachable is such a critical part, especially for these younger showmen. It was interesting watching several of the last class, knowing they're some of them seniors in high school that just graduated. This was their last go round in showmanship. And seeing a couple of those seniors a little You could see a glint of disappointment in their eye that they didn't finish a little bit better. Katie Ward, the winner of that last class, she'll be a junior at Des Moines High School. Here we go, back at it. Judge trying to catch him.
You know, something that you said, Mr. Brad, I think it's really super fair that, you know, especially for the seniors, that you get disappointed in your last round of showmanship. But that's kind of, it's interesting the way that Los Animas County, our goat show, is easily our biggest show of just as far as like volume of animals and number of showmen. And so it's like you have 13 very good showmen that came in for all the seniors. I would say they all did a great job. They knew their stuff. Everything was set up looking pretty good, and then you just kind of you get into that top
May the
five
winner
of
of champion intermediate showmanship please stay in the
Well, you
ring
have to
for
be
your
so
photo.
intense, so on, and the judge can't catch you making any little mistakes. Like I noticed right that time when he was trying to catch this last round before we finished up with the last two. Lily Amato's goat got a little out of step, and she had to take him around and reset him up. Took maybe a little bit too long, and he pulled her into that fourth spot. He's looking for those tiny little mistakes. I mean, they're all good showmen.
or some of the things he was saying too. Like the for the senior showman is like he got the within the top three. He was kind of not super nitpicky, but just kind of like catching people on like, oh, you didn't turn around quite as fast. You're like I think he said Katie Ward was just the fastest in getting around her goat, um, and so yeah, getting right down to the fine details is what's going to decide these things.
Down to the last two. The judge is looking at him right now. He can't see the judge quite on the camera, but he is looking there at
Let's give these
Jax and
intermediates a
Jolie.
big round of applause here as we get started with them. Man, they made my job fun, but they made it challenging and very minor things as we worked on down that pulled third and fourth place out of it. I think that these top two, though, are the combination of everybody else, but yet they do it with just a little bit more pizzazz, a little bit more intensity, and they're making sure that their animals are dialed in just a shot more. Young lady, you're our champion showman today. I thought you've done an outstanding job the entire
Jolie
time.
Ward
It's
with the
tough to
win.
lead the ring with these goats, okay? I totally get it. Goats are not wanting to be fearless leaders, right, in any means. And so for you to get that one out, get them leading very good, then you get them set up and you leave them a beat. That's one of the things that I like the most about you is you know that your animal's set pretty dang good. You're getting them to brace. Maybe not just 100% square on those rear two, but guess what? It was good enough today because he wasn't wanting to move around. He wasn't wanting to fight you on the side at all. He looked good the entire time. He looks good in terms of the way that you get his neck up and out of him. All of those good things are why you went ahead and won this particular division. The young man that's going to be second, a very good job, and just in terms of being calm and collected. You love your style from that standpoint. I think that in terms of making sure that they're set up good enough, making sure that we can try to get the most out of our goat, that's where you're kind of excel at, and that's what I like. Even though you may be maybe just a little bit more stressed sometimes in terms of trying to get him to move around, things like that. We come back and we're always calm and collected when we finally get him stood. Right there at the end, though, I was just sitting there watching you, and you took just a little bit too long of trying to get him set. When you know it's the final two, and we got to make sure that we are just firing on all cylinders and we are going to get it done, we got to make sure that we leave well enough alone, get him pushed back, get those feet set, and then eyes on me, right? I thought you just took just a little bit too long to get him back and going, but a very good job to you, young man. Young lady here in third, I thought a very nice showman. Love the intensity, love the style that you have. You're, again, a long-legged showman. You do have one of the bigger goats, which is nice for you. I thought, though, in terms of just our goat and hiding the flaws, I thought maybe you were one that maybe fell out just a little bit more. For how big and muscular this one is, we got to know where our issues are, and it's right behind his blade, right? And that paint does not help him by any means. But I thought, like, right now he's looking better. Earlier we had him just a nickel too stretched out. We had those front legs forward just a little bit too much. Got to make sure that we keep those under us so that our spine stays up and that we're level down our top line, all right? And so those are some issues that maybe I saw that got you down into third. Young lady there in fourth, an excellent job. I love the style again, the way that you can get the most out of that weather for sure. Right there at the end, though, before I pulled you, you were the one that when I went off to the side and I wanted to see their chest and the three-quarter view on the left side of the goat, you did a little circle, all right? That wasn't the time for that. We talked about it more individually, but that was the deal that got you done. You made my life easier. Didn't want to pull you because of that. That's what happens, though, is when you go ahead and do that circle, hey, I'm up front. I don't care about his back leg. Show me how big-chested this guy is. Show me how big-footed he is. Those are the things that we just got to make sure that we know for next time. Stretched out just a little too much. Make sure we keep our legs underneath ourselves. Young lady that's going to come in next and round us out of our top five, a calm and collected showman by all the sorts. I think in terms of getting our feet set square, we get them done and then we leave. What I need from you is just a little bit more intensity. I'd like to see that body turned in and your hips going back into that goat to make sure that doe can get up and push back at you. If we stand off to the side, we're not quite getting enough out of that goat. That's what got you down into the top five. Young man that's going to round us out of our intermediate division told me a good story. He raised this goat. Mama didn't make it, so we bottle fed this one. We made it to the county fair. She's as tame as a dog. Absolutely love that for you, young man. Congratulations on getting your project from start to finish here at the county fair. What we need to have, though, while we're setting our feet up good and while we are a calm and collected showman and that doe's wanting to do whatever you ask her for, we got to ask her to do just a little bit more. Got to get in front of that goat. Got to get her bracing. When I go to handle, it's my one chance to feel that muscle in terms of her rack and her loin. And if we miss that opportunity and the goats in front of you or behind you do it, I'm just always looking back and seeing how much more rack and loin shape they have versus you. And so for next year and the coming years, I hope you continue to show goats. Got to make sure we get in front of that goat and got to get him to drive and to show as much muscle expression as possible. Congratulations. Let's give these intermediates a round of applause. Good job, bud.
Congratulations to all those intermediate showmen. That's Jolie Ward taking the win. Also want to take a minute now to again say thank you to Croissant Red Angus out of Briggsdale, Colorado, the very northern end of the state. High quality Red Angus cattle, replacement heifers, breeding bulls, you name it, they can help restock your Red Angus herd with some quality genetics. You can find them on Facebook, Croissant Red Angus, or just Google them and you will like what you find. Thank you for sponsoring the livestock show here on the Saddle Rock Sports Network. And here we go. This is what we all came for. It's a lot of fun. The junior showmanship. Highest probability of a little bit of a rodeo here today. And your showman right here, closest to camera, is Lakin Arnold, Skylar Winter, Abilene Mosman, Sage Moore. Let's see, Elise, who is the gentleman next to Sage?
Our superintendents of today's show, Dan Doherty, Mark Jackson, and Aaron Congdon. And our junior superintendents, Eklund Congdon and Casey.
Learning some names. I don't know all of these kids by name. Well, the young man in the green shirt, I know right next to him is, oh, that's Spur Robbins, then Braxton DeVolen.
And Reed Minsick.
Reed Minsick and Josh Stodgel. All right. Got some pretty dialed in junior showmen here.
LLC, Mark and Sydney Henry. If they are here today, please present the award to the junior championship winner.
Mark and Cindy Henry of Sinmar LLC. are the sponsors for this junior showmanship belt. Oh, we got our first escapee of the contest. Oh, Lake and Arnold with the save. Superintendent Dan Doherty there with the assist.
I believe that's Reed Minsick is who that was. He's got his goat. He grabbed him and getting him back set up. Well done by that young man recovering.
Ladies and gentlemen, our official photographer of this year's fair, JC Sumter Photography. You can check out today's photos from today's shows at JC Sumter Photography at smugmug.com. Thank you.
There you heard it, folks. If you would like to purchase one of the photos from any of today's contests.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another show on tap here today before our beef show at 5 p.m. We have the dog show. It'll be at noon in the Expo Barn.
They just announced the dog show. Unfortunately, we will not have that one on the Saddle Rock Sports Network. All of our equipment is here in the pavilion. And to take stuff down and get it all set up, we just simply don't have time to get it all moved over to the Expo Pavilion. But I hear that is always a fun little show to watch. Braxton DeVolen getting some tips. Josh Stodgel telling Judge all about his project. Reed Minsick there giving the rundown on the project. So if you're enjoying watching this show, we'll mention, again, we got 5 o'clock will be the beef show this evening. And the Saddle Rock Sports Network, this is a student-powered broadcasting adventure. Brody Doherty just graduated from the University of Denver. Elise Comden will be a sophomore at Branson School. And both of these young broadcasters are getting paid today for their time. And we do that through business sponsorships. You've seen us mention several of those. You've seen businesses with their logos rotate in the bottom corner. And we have the opportunity for you at home to maybe help us pay those students by being a super fan. We'll have that graphic up here for you in a minute. And you can donate any amount of support you would like via PayPal or Venmo. Maybe enough to buy a snow cone on a hot day like today. It would be appreciated.
Now, that doesn't sound like a terrible idea at all.
That sounds like a great idea. Snow cone here at the Los Animas County Fair. Sign me up. So Josh and Reed have been pulled at the bottom, and now Braxton, we're just kind of going down the line. Braxton is the next one pulled out. And if you'll notice, Brody, there's for showmanship contests, there really isn't a rule on the order in which you come in the ring. So a lot of times those more seasoned showmen will ooch their way to the front. And oftentimes those are the ones that end up at the top of the class. Skylar Winter and then Spur Robbins pulled off. It looks like the judge is going back to give some more pointers to these young guys. While he's doing that, pull up our Superfan page real quick. Again, if you would like to support what we're doing on the Saddle Rock Sports Network, not necessarily as a business, you could scan one of those 2 QR codes right there and choose any level of support. That just helps us keep these student broadcasters paid and buy replacement equipment and keep the lights on in the booth. So thank you for here in the sales pitch, and we appreciate your support. Even if that's just watching the video or sharing these links or even simply subscribing to the YouTube channel, that's probably the best way to stay up to date on all of the stuff we got going on the Saddle Rock Sports Network. Just in a few short weeks, we will have football and volleyball coverage at a number of schools starting on the Saddle Rock Sports Network. And that young man right there, Braxton DeVolin, he is part of our broadcast crew on the Honey side of things. Jeremy Lucero, his uncle, is our crew lead for that crew. So we'll be covering home games of Honey Farmer football and Honey Farmer volleyball. And Braxton will likely be on the camera. There's Skylar Winter getting some points. Skylar, the daughter of Colorado HD 47 representative Ty Winter. Spur Robbins getting his pointers. So folks at home, as we enter into the market contests after this, actually they're going to do the open class, and I see some of the world's cutest showmen lined up down there in the corner. But if you're following along at home, and here is Sage Moore, going to place third. Sage will be a fourth grader at Branson, or will she be a fifth grader? Fifth grader at Branson. I should know that better. I'm looking to Elise for help. I'm the PE teacher out at Branson. I've been with all these kids forever.
Here for our juniors, everybody. Man, it's fun. Again, I'm a man of repetition. We do the same thing during every showmanship and basically every class. Go ahead and get them set, come over here, talk about them, and guys that maybe miss a sheep show and maybe some cattle exhibitors that are in here that are going to be showing to me later tonight. Again, I'm a man of repetition. It's my one time in showmanship that I can actually talk to every exhibitor and not feel like we're dragging on the show. I like to talk to them. I like to push them out of their comfort zone and have them talk to a complete stranger, look me in the eye if they can, and tell me a little bit about their project. And that's all the question was, is tell me about your goat. And that goes to every species that I'm in. And it can be as simple as, hey, his name is this and this, or we bought him here, or he weighs this. But I will say, seniors that are around here and intermediates, these juniors kicked your butt in terms of the questions, okay? I had way more fun with these juniors than you guys, all right? Yeah. That's about what I have to say for that. Now, getting back to showmanship here, two young ladies that have done an excellent job the entire time, making sure that the views are seen, making sure that they're set up, getting the most out of their goats. There's one young lady in here that I think is just wanting it just a little bit more, making sure that their goat is bracing, making sure that their feet are set up and dialing them in the entire time. Our reserve is a very good showman, just a classic showman. I think as she continues to mature and go into her show career, she's only going to get better. I think if we continue to watch and feed off of each other and watch our intermediates and senior showmen, we're only going to get better. Young lady in the back, your champion. Young lady up front, your reserve.
Abilene Mosman with the win, and Lakin Arnold coming in second place. Great job.
A lights out kind of a gal who really does the best to get as much out of her big goat as possible. And when it comes down to it, is that your goat maybe was wanting to give out just a little bit more. A bigger goat's harder for a smaller showman, right? And so in order to get the most out of your goat, I was hoping maybe we would stand in front of that weather, making sure that he can push into you just a little bit more. Minor things. I know bracing gets hard for you little guys. I was there once myself, but in terms of how good this heat is, we got to do those extra little things. That's what got you down. Young man here in fourth, an excellent job the entire time. Goat wanted to give out on you. I like your calmness. I like your collectedness. I like your eye contact with me. Too many times, though, I saw you fighting that weather back and forth. He's wanting to rock back. His feet aren't set correctly. We're just letting that one get a little bit too relaxed. That's what got you down. Young lady over here in fifth, an intense showman, one that hit the gate, and I was ready to rock and roll with you all the way through. What gets you beat is twice. Over here, when I go in front of the goats, you stood in front. Over there, when I go in front of the goats and off to the offside, you stood in front of that goat and you didn't switch sides. I think that's a big personal preference for me. We got to make sure that our goats can stand. Show us our chest. Let me see that goat. The only time you're allowed to walk in front of them is when I walk in front to see that other side. Otherwise, you're doing an excellent job. Young man, and all these young men that are going to round us out of our juniors today, a very good job. Goats that just weren't wanting to work with you, right? They were wanting to go back and forth. They weren't wanting to get their feet set. They were wanting to be just a little bit more ornery with you. I think if we can get goats that want to work with us, we're going to rock and roll and push these young ladies all the way to the top. Let's give these juniors a big round of applause, everybody.
There you have it, folks. Abilene Mosman and Lakin Arnold are 1 and 2 in the junior showmanship. Let's take a minute and give a shout out to Black Gold Genetics. Mark and Janelle Crane own and operate Black Gold Genetics alongside their sons Matthew and his family, Randy and Hallie, and their other son, Micah Crane. Mark started the seed stock business back in 1992, and it's grown into one of the larger seed stock operations in the tri-state area. The business consists of Angus, Red Angus, Balancer, and Sim Angus, with a strong focus on producing practical, low-input genetics. Their breeding program emphasizes maternal excellence, structural soundness, growth, and carcass merit. Their annual production sale is the last Saturday of February. It consists of 150 bulls and a select group of females. They would like to commend all of the showmen for their hard work and dedication to their projects this summer. Reach out to Mark at 719-523-3108 or find him online at blackgoldgenetics.com. Thank you, Black Gold Genetics. And now time for the cutest show, maybe, of the entire fair. It's the open class. Oh my, oh my, we got a whole bunch. There's Casey Moore leading them out. And one of the little Arnold girls. And a whole bunch more cuties. There's Lincoln DeVolin there. And Winter helping out there with the crisscross applesauce arm pattern. Got a lamb in one hand and a cute little girl in a cute little pink blouse in the other with their arms crisscrossed. That's too cute. What a fun bunch. What's your guess, Brody? How many rodeos? Well, there's one. Oh, our first escape of the day. Lamb on the run.
I mean, to be fair, these goats have, most of these are more likely than not, have already been shown once in the showmanship class. We got one right here in front of us, well wrangled.
Spur Robbins helping out. Ooh, and here comes a itty bitty. As they get a little bit older, you know, all the contestants in the goat competition tend to outweigh their animals, but not at this age.
No, this is true. See, there's something about like the little open classes where kids are, for like the chicken and the rabbit show where the little kids, they've got their bunny and it's all the cutest. And then you've got an open show with like goats where it's like, okay, that's a step up. The animal's larger. But then by the time you get to the pigs and the cows, it's just like, okay, these kids are not proportionally, you know, aligned anymore.
This is when I think it would be really cool if the judge would just turn on his mic to actually interview the kids. Well, that would be really, really cool. No more escape artists yet. Casey Moore's goat is giving him a challenge down there. I don't know if you can see it on camera.
Tell you what, he's wrestling that goat right back. He's not going to let him get off the halter. He's not going to give him an inch.
Just a programming reminder, 5 o'clock tonight is the beef show. That begins at 5 o'clock.
Ladies and gentlemen, another vendor of ours, Picket Wire Store and Lodge. They got barbecue, brisket, turkey legs. Come and get you some.
Brock Brunelli giving a shout out to another vendor. Some awesome lunch opportunities. Brody and I both enjoyed some hamburgers, cheeseburgers rather, courtesy of Red Rocks 4-H Club.
Indeed, and if you're not a fair, you're missing out, man. You get to watch these fun shows in person. You get to see everyone a little bit easier than you can through the camera screen. But you get to check out the vendors. There's some very cool exhibit day products set up in the expo center. You can walk through through the livestock barns to see what's all set up. Yeah, there's a lot to enjoy out here. I think Saturday there's lots of festivities with cornhole tournaments and chili cook-offs and lots of fun. So if you're looking for a day to come to fair, we got lots of good options.
Also, something new returning to the fair, the rodeo. That's going to happen tomorrow night, starting at 7 o'clock. Back in my day, Brody, there was always the Trinidad Roundup Association put on the county fair. Put on a rodeo during the fair.
Oh, yes.
And I don't believe it's the Roundup Association now, but it's another group coming in to put on a little bit of entertainment.
It'll be fun. And from what I understand, this event is sanctioned by one of the rodeo governing bodies in Colorado, so there will be some, I don't know about big names, but rodeoers competing for points and titles and all the fun stuff.
Yes, I do believe you're correct. It will be a good stop for those up here on YouTube will be on later as a YouTube video. So just in case you know someone that missed it live or was not available to watch it when it started at 11 o'clock this morning, they can't get to it until tomorrow or even next week. It'll be up on the internet as long as YouTube is around. So that's how we do things on the Saddle Rock Sports Network. Watching on a smart TV or from any other device, your phone, your laptop, tablet. Bottom of this video and hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free to you, and it does help our channel. 2,500 through basketball season this past year. Maybe next year. Subscribers.
Cool.
Subscribe.
Views on
About
videos.
180,000 views. So if you are watching and you're interested, we will have student-powered broadcast crews covering the Branson Kim football, volleyball, and basketball. And I'm forgetting one. Who am I forgetting?
Center?
Center. Nope. Center. Which is a co-op between 3 schools, Campo Violet.
Alrighty, folks. Sorry for that brief interruption. We're just having some technical issues on our side of things. It's just a little hot here at the county fair. There's just lots and just heat and electronics don't always go super nicely together. So we apologize for any further interruption or choppy broadcast signal. But we're back to it here. Last we left off, we were in the middle of the open class with all of the fun Cloverbud showmen. But now we've got class 1 of the Market Goat Show, where we've got, I believe in order in line, we have Jody Stodgehill, Josh Stodgehill, Jesse Stodgehill, Grace Zamora, and Torrin San Roman. Oh, never mind. So we're not quite in order. Jody and Jesse have switched. So leading the way is Jesse Stodgehill, and third in line is Jody Stodgehill, I believe. Jody, Jesse, and Josh. I've got Elise Compton here helping me on the line, and she is much more familiar with some of the crew around here. But yes, 5 goats in this lightweight class. Jody Stodgehill is weighing in at 56 pounds. Torrance San Romans capping us off at 67. So these goats weighing about, I don't know, what's a good analogy for maybe some of these size goats? That's one thing we enjoy here when we're broadcasting some of these Saddle Rock sports things. So these goats are about the size of a 3rd grader. It's kind of funny when you get up into talking about the pigs and the sheep, we start comparing to, NFL players or, small cars. But these goats, about the size of a 3rd grader. Judge Carlson making quick work of this market class. He's picked off his bottom 2. Let's see if I can get this right. Jody, oh gosh, he pulled all 3 Stodgehills. Jody, Josh, and Jesse, 1, 2, and 3. And he's picked Torrance and Roman, the heaviest goat of the bunch, to win this class.
Man's a class win for sure. That one, by far, is the most busted open, in terms of her chest. She's the roundest in terms of her cage. That one comes together the best over her rack and loin. That one's a stout one to go ahead and win this particular class. The one here in second. Now, that one is the taller option of the pair. I like this one from the side in terms of its length and height of shoulder, its length of spine. That one's good about his shoulder as well. And that one's just clean all the way through. Unfortunately, though, when we come up just a little bit more in terms of height, we get a little bit less in terms of natural width and dimension. We need to be wider underneath. We need to be rounder in our cage in order to switch that pair. The one that's going to come in third, I think all these go third, fourth, and fifth all resemble each other a great deal. The one in third I thought was the cleanest in terms of his lines of the remaining 3. I thought he was the best right behind his shoulder, and then that weather gets to be the smoothest out of his upper dock as well. The one that's going to come in next, I like this one in terms of being good in terms of its balance. This doe, I think it is the second best in terms of making sure that we're tying our neck in high to the top side of our shoulder. We're smooth there. We get too flat there back, and we just get too peaked over our rack and loin. We get to be the flattest in terms of our leg. The one that's going to round us out, it's a very similar story. Some length and extension, some height of shoulder, some good angles in terms of our front end. Our hip and honk and ankle are nice as well. We just get too narrow there back, starting at the ground. We're the flattest in terms of our cage. We need to be we're the most peaked over our rack and loin. Some more days on feet are definitely going to help these guys the longer time goes. Let's give them a big round of applause as they exit the ring.
For Class 1, in 5th place, Jody Stodgehill. In 4th place, Josh Stodgehill. In 3rd place, Jesse Stodgehill. In 2nd place, Grace Zamora. And punching his ticket to the final drive, Torrance and Roman.
You heard it here, folks. Class 1 gets placed
The next
heaviest
class,
to lightest.
Class 2, Braxton DeVolen, Reed Minsick, Hope Vernier, Abilene Mosman, Lakin Arnold, Spur Robbins, Chase Winner, and Cooper Winner.
Class 1 goes heaviest to lightest. Class 2 might be our... let's see. Maybe not fight with the
Big thank
most
you to our
competitors.
county fair sponsors in the Platinum Division, Kathy Scott Realtor, Coda of the West, and Desert Eagle Operating.
This is our. Let's see if your first class was your lightweight, would this be your featherweight? Or let's see, I don't know how the boxing weights go.
I
Does it
think the
go
featherweights are the lightest.
lightest? Okay. I don't know how boxing works, but we've got goats in this class ranging from 75 pounds to 79 pounds. So a little bit less spread than in the lightest weight.
Lightest would be here closest to you on the camera, and farthest away is the heaviest one in the class. Cooper Winter and Chase Winter, the brothers, coming in with 79-pound beasts.
Beast may be a little bit generous of a term for a goat, but you know what? I think it works.
And go down some. Now this will be interesting to see if our judge picks him as quickly as he did this last time in the last class.
Because you know, for the lightweight classes, it's always kind of hard because it's the they're goats that may just need more time on feed. They haven't had time to get big. And so I bet it's probably fairly easy to pick up, okay, yeah, this one's got the most meat, and that's how you do it. But I think once you start getting goats that are a little more full out, you can kind of start picking, okay, what's the quality of the carcass? How did the development of the different muscles stack up against each other, especially when you've got goats with relatively similar weights. But
All right, their judge is taking his first look. Braxton DeVolin, first picked out of the herd, lightest one in the class. If you just look at these showmen right here, Cooper Winter and Hope Vernier, the two eldest of this class, really dialed in. But the Winter boys get cold off quickly.
Lake and Arnold getting her name called out next.
She's got a lively one there.
Indeed. Abilene Mosman, winner of the junior showmanship, is going to take fourth in this market class.
Now look at these top three. Look how well braced all of those lambs are. Those showmen really doing a good job. They've obviously worked with those goats this summer.
Spur Robbins going to be third.
Casey May Costa pulling Ethelyn out of the camera view for us. She had us. She's got our backs. It takes a village here.
You know, we may have to add that to the highlight reel of county fair shenanigans, bloopers.
I like it. I like it. Really, we should have a corn bin can. Back to the left of us, there's a huge, like, stock feeder full of whole corn that the kids play in like a giant sandbox.
Yeah, a close top pair for sure. me out here going back and forth. And the reason why, they're both good individuals, but they're on opposite sides of the spectrum. We got a pretty one who has enough. We got a stout rascal who just maybe isn't quite pretty enough, okay? And that's kind of where it goes back and forth. Like I just said, though, man, I'm a sucker for a good-looking one, and that one is an epitome of balance, good in terms of his silhouette, really nice from the side, tall-shouldered, athletic on the move. Then you get on top of that one, he has enough. He's the freshest over his rack and his loin. He's the best out of his upper hip and has a lot of muscle expression and shape. Never call that one light muscled. Plus, when he does it in a pretty package like that, that's why he's a spinner. The one that's going to be in second, a heck of a goat in terms of just pounds of product and dimension. And for those of you who say, hey, we need to switch this around, I won't argue too much because that one is big-chested. He's correct in his cage. He's awesome up high over his rack and loin. He's dimensional going away. The issue with him, and for one, he's being a knucklehead for the young man, and he's trying his darndest. When that goat gets out and goes, he probably picks himself up better just a little bit more, but it doesn't hide the fact that he's the bigger, more open shoulder goat of the top pair. He wants to get too round out of either end. He doesn't come with that extra neat neck or big foot, okay? And so if we can fix a few of those smaller things to make him balance up just a little bit better and more attractive from the side, I think you can switch the pair. But that's going to be a fun one to see what it looks like in the Grand Drive. And now another really muscular goat stands here in third. This one is as big-chested and burly as you can make. He's big in his forearm. He's massive up high. Really like that one's dimension that he feeds all the way back. That guy takes his roundness and plainness just a little bit too far, okay? We talked about it there on second. He's a step further. That one's neck wants to come out of the center portion of his shoulder. That one doesn't be near as good out of his upper hip either. He gets pretty short there. Consequently, he wants to bow in his hock. He doesn't want to move just quite as good and athletic as those top two. Muscular, dimensional, going to hang on the rail with a really big carcass, young man. The doe here in next is very fascinating to me. I really do like this doe, and I think she'd be fun to breed, honestly, as a breeder myself. I think that one's so genuine underneath. She's good in terms of her edge up high. Like this one's body shape. I think that, honestly, in terms of just balance, this is a nice, attractive doe. We're in a market show, though. That's why she gets beat in this particular class. She could be stouter right at the ground in terms of her foot size. I think if she was stouter scold, that would help her all the way through and just come together that much more bulky to be able to compete with those boys that were just left the ring. The one that's going to round us out of our top five, one on the other side of the spectrum. She's the taller shouldered, longer, more attractive one for sure. That one's longer spined. I like the athleticism that she has. But again, like we just talked about with those goats that just left, that one gets out horsed today. She needs to be wider in terms of her chest. She needs to be stouter going away as well. The one that's going to come in next, a very nice, good balance goat. I thought the decision here between 6th and 7th was very close, and I think you could go either way. The one that kind of did it for me was when I walked behind those two. I think this doe just comes with just a shot more in terms of her pin width. Comes with just a shot more in terms of her lower stifle as well. The one that's going to come in next, I like this balance that this weather weeds with from the side. I like his angle of his shoulder, even though we're getting a little too deep right there. That's what kind of hurts him from their back. But we're good in terms of our lines. We're good in terms of our athleticism. The one that's going to round us out, man, we just need a few more groceries, young man. We need to make that weather come just a shot more busted open underneath. We need to have some more time on feet. I think he's a little skinny. I think if we continue to get some flesh on him, he's going to widen out. He's going to make his top come down just a little bit better. Let's give this class a big round of applause.
Market Goat Show Class 2 in 8th place, Braxton Devolan. In 7th place, Cooper Winner. In 6th place, Chase Winner. 5th place, Lakin Arnold. 4th place, Abilene Mosman. 3rd place, Spur Robbins. In 2nd place, Reed Mintick. And going to the final drive, winning the class, Hope Vernier.
All right, let's give a quick shout out to another one of our fair sponsors, CDNK Sewer Services. CDNK Sewer Services is proud to serve the Trinidad area and surrounding communities with reliable, experienced septic, sewer, and drain services and portable toilet rentals. Family owned and operated, they provide septic pumping, inspections, Hold on. Drain cleaning, sewer services, and portable toilet rentals. When you need them, give Chris a call, 719-859-3268. Didn't have that graphic come up, but that's all right. We are still appreciative of their help.
Arthur Roll-Off Incorporated, located in Raton, New Mexico, offers roll-off and dumpster services throughout northeastern New Mexico and southeastern Colorado.
You're getting all sorts of stuff there on screen. There we go. Back to the action.
Our gold category Los Animas County Fair sponsors: Inbank, Aguilar Mercantile, Black Bear Hardware, LARCC Trucking, The Water Station, Comey Funeral Home, Mount San Rafael Hospital, Oasis Water Delivery, Producers Veterinary Services and Supplies.
In the ring right now, from right to left,
we've got, starting us off, we have Reed Minsick, Kason Martinez, Paisley San Roman, Jax Baca, Katie Ward, Lily Yamato, Jolie Ward, and Sorrel Mosman. In this class, we've got 8 animals ranging in weight from 80 pounds to 87 pounds. Going on the walk.
as we get into these heavier classes, it will be interesting to see if our judge stays with the pattern. Right now is where he has begun to sift off right after that second little walk.
Well, I believe he said earlier in today's deal, towards the end of the showmanship, he's a man of repetition. Like we saw him do this in the GOAT show, he'd have him line up lengthwise with nose to the fence first, and then they'll take a walk and they'll all line up nose to tail. Second time, and then he makes his picks. He'll walk them quick and make his decisions fairly quick. But I do appreciate this judge just taking time to flesh out his reasons. So he prioritizes, and that's where he spends his time.
As you're looking at things left to right, the right side of the screen are the lighter goats in the class. I believe that is Kason Martinez. Got pulled off first. Paisley San Roman and Reed Minsick are next. Kind of the consistent pattern we've seen just in each class. The lighter ones getting cold first, and he doesn't necessarily always go with the heaviest lambs.
In Class 1, he ended up picking the heaviest, but Class 2, Hope for Nears, was on the lighter end of the class. Only about a pound off of the lightest one in the ring.
The 2 heaviest are both 87 pounds from Sorrel Mosman and Jolie Ward. Lily Amato's coming in at 85, Katie's at 84, and Jax Baca at 83. All of those showmen in there, I think, are doing a really nice job now of bracing those goats. They are really showing off that, here's my big word for you again, musculature.
Ah, there you go. Well, we've seen this judge pick them based on their capacity to be a meat wagon, seeing how cracked open they are.
How fresh they are.
Mhm.
Lily Amato and Jax Baca getting pulled off in 5th and 4th place, respectively.
Jolie Ward going to take 3rd, leaving Sorrel Mosman and Katie Ward 1st and 2nd.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Brody, but didn't Jolie win the intermediate showman? And
That she did.
Katie won the senior showman just a little while ago.
With that signal, Sorrel Mosman's going to take 1st place in the class. Katie Ward with 2nd.
A really fun pair here as we get going into some of our heavier weights. I'm a big fan of the three-quarter view. I truly believe that that's where I can see the best in terms of their chest underneath, their width that they have right at the ground, the roundness of their cage, and the dimension that they carry from their blade back into their pin set, and that's why this guy wins. It is that right there. I think that this one, in terms of being just the genuine cracked open one who never guesses if he has enough, that's him. Now, sure, we're not the biggest legged one out here, okay? That probably lands in 2 and 3. But guess what? We're the best goat. We cover the most, check off the most boxes. That's why we win. We're the freshest over our loin. The one here in second, I love between 2 and 3, the picture from the side. This goat here in second, I think, reads so nice in terms of his big form and massive feet and legs, okay? And for some of you older folks out there that are saying, hey, we don't eat the feet and legs, it's a part of the show ring. I breed for it. That's what I like. And fortunately for this guy right here, as we get right on top of this one, and it was that last handle where he gets too peaked over his loin, he's the most nondescript there, where we need to bust that guy open into our pin set. If we could finish him out the way he starts, it's a no-brainer. He doesn't do it. That's why he's second. The one here in third, again, some wild pieces here, young lady, and I'm sure when this thing was a baby, you thought, game changer, here we go to the county fair, right? You get him here, and man, I wish that he would have finished for you. He's a little looser hided. He's a little bit more nondescript in his muscle shape. I think he's just past 12 o'clock. I think maybe if we could have seen him a week or 10 days ago, it would have been a different story. But his chest is wanting to get out of him just a little bit too much. I think that his looseness of hide just amplifies the fact that he doesn't come just a stout right behind his blade. He gets quite a bit narrower across his edge as well. We need to make that one come up. But man, he finishes good with a big, strong cheek. We just don't come together quite as good in our hind saddle. The one that's going to come in next is more descriptive. You can see that ditch that he has working down his back from the outside. I really like that weather from that part. He's good and genuine in his rib cage. I just wish he had just a little bit more. If he could have just a little bit more turn, if he could have just a little bit more dimension up high, we could go. Unfortunately for him, we had some that did it. That's why he kind of sorts down into fourth. The one here in fifth, again, I like this guy from the side. He's got some big-time things going for you, young lady. Big in his chest, big in his forearm, awesome in terms of his foot and bone size as well. I think the issue with him is a skeleton from start to finish. That guy's chest and shoulder get out of him. His shoulder gets a bit more open, so therefore his neck doesn't come out as good. We all know that I like him judging him from the side. He's not as unique there through his front end. You start to study his rear third, and his hip is pretty dang short right there. It wants to slant just a little bit too much. If we could level him from hooks to pins, make that hind leg get out and go just a little bit more, it could be a different story. We're just off balance today, young lady. That's why we sit fifth. The one here in sixth, a really stout goat from behind. Love this one's pin width, his lower dimension that he has down into his leg and into his stifle. Really nice from that one. I think we just get out horsed in terms of balance. His chest wants to come open. He gets more peaked right behind his blade as well. Young lady's doe that's going to come in next. Really good, genuine one. She's wide and cracked open underneath. The one is good in terms of her dimension that she spreads all the way down her top. She gets quite a bit fatter, though, just to put it simple. That one, when the widest point on her is in her center rib, you know that's not good, okay? And we need to trim that one up just a little bit more, make that one's cutability come together and play just a little bit better in order for her to move up. The one that's going to come us out and round us out of this particular class, one that is a little bit trimmer. I do think that this one does feed just a little bit more natural, like like his composition just a little bit more. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough, okay? We need to come just a shot stouter from our chest all the way to our upper hip. He starts looking like me from behind, and that's no good, okay? We got to be wider in terms of our pin set. We got to be wider down in terms of our lower twist in order to move up. Congratulations on this class. Everybody give them a round of applause.
A huge congratulations to our Market Goat Show Class 3. In 8th place, Kason Martinez. In 7th, Paisley Teaganson Roman. In 6th place, Reed Mensick. 5th place, Lilia Amato. 4th place, Jax Baca. 3rd place, Jolie Ward. 2nd place, Katie Ward. And your Class 3 winner, Saro Mosman.
Thank you to CD&K Sewer Services. You heard me talking about them. Appreciate their support. Also want to give a quick shout out to Sunflower Hill Taxidermy. That's Brock and Chantel Wilson running that business locally here, specializing in European-style mounts of pretty much any game in the area. Let's get back to the action in the ring now. We have going from right to left, Charlie Waite, Regan Mosman, Skylar Winter, Brooklyn Winter, Alec Baca, and Jacob Ramos.
This is your 4th class of Market Goats, ranging in weight from 88 pounds to 93 pounds. Jacob Ramos on the far end. He's got the heavyweight of the class.
You know, with as quickly as this judge likes to work, it is so critical. Oh, Skylar's goat is just not agreeing and cooperating at the moment. He'll be able to come back for another touch-up, hopefully.
The ones that were chosen will be presented at Achievement Day. So yes, you have to wait a while, but this means you get to choose exactly what you want and get it personalized. So, if you win Grand Champion or Reserve Grand Champion, make sure you select your award and return it to Lori or Cindy.
And like we mentioned before in the Lamb Show, it's a little less critical that the goats are set up just right when it comes to the market classes. You can bank on the judge just kind of judging their musculature. But it certainly helps if you get them set up such that they're flexing and they're posing and showing off all that they've got.
Several good showmen in this class. Let's see if they can get those goats flexing. Alex Bacas wants to stand up.
He says, "Hello,
Say hi.
I am
Skylar.
here. Pick me."
Skylar kind of squeezed in there. I mean, Brooklyn. From left to right, they are pretty much heaviest to lightest. Actually, Brooklyn's was right in the middle of this class. And Jacob and Alex, kind of the two heavier goats of this bunch. Judge taking a little time with this class. Only 6, but maybe a little closer in terms of quality and composition and the attributes he's looking for. Megan Mosman, the first pulled in class number 4.
Brooklyn winner. It's going to end up 5th.
Going back for a second touch. Judge has not done that in any of the classes before this.
I think I saw him do such in the last class when it came
Really?
down to it. Yeah, I thought so. I know.
I'm getting kind of old, Brody. I don't remember things as good as I once did.
Oh, you know what? That's okay. That's all right.
Alec Baca next.
Jacob Ramos first. I think it went Charlie Waite, then Skylar Winter in 3 and 2.
I believe so.
All right, Wavy, a class winner that doesn't just scream and say, hey, look at me, but in terms of combining everything, making sure that we're the best in terms of covering the basics, genuine muscle. This is a market show. We're still trim. And once I decided that this doe was good enough to do it, the rest kind of came in quite nicely because that one is big and stout in terms of her rack. She's the biggest and squarest over her loin. And for being a doe, I questioned if she was trim enough. That last handle, she just solidified the fact that that one is good enough there. Like her composition, she's the class winner. The one here in second, man, I think that this one swings for the fences in a lot of areas. He's big and cracked open underneath. He's awesome in terms of his forearm. He's probably one of the rounder ribbed kind of a goats in this particular class. Unfortunately, we get too often balanced, okay? We're the ill-balanced kind of a goat who gets tighter right behind our shoulder blade. When you get up in terms of our top line, we get tighter into our flank. We don't power out enough from behind. We need to come just a shot stouter there. I think if we can finish that one all the way through, that's where maybe the story could be different. The one there in third, that's the expressive, shapely made goat in this particular drive. I like that one just in terms of his muscle expression, not only up high, but from behind. I think that that one is really nice in terms of his stifle and in terms of his lower leg. We just get too ill-balanced again. We get deeper in terms of our chest. We get pushing the breastplate out just a little too much. We get deeper in terms of our center body. Need to bring that back up, make them rounder in our cage, not so deep, and I think that it would be a different story. The one that's going to come in next, like the length and extension that this weather has, really good balance from the side, and I think if you just judge him from the side, he needs to continue to go up. He's got some big pipes underneath him as well. We get our hands on him. He was the most disappointing in terms of our rack and loin. We get to be the frailest over there. We get to be the most peaked going away. The doe that's going to come in next, I like this one's style and look. I think her neck is really neat in the way she ties it in high into her shoulder. She's smooth and flat there as well. We get too narrow in terms of their back, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but that's what kind of gets these goats sorted into the bottom half of the class. If we could be rounder in terms of our rib cage, be stouter going away, that's the way we can move them up. The one that's going to round us out of this particular class, I'll be the first to admit, I think paints are very hard to judge, especially when they have their paint break right behind their shoulder blade. It makes them look tighter than they actually are. I think in terms of other issues besides this one's color pattern, we get too tight there in terms of our center body, right in terms of our forerib. I think our center body is good. Our forerib isn't quite right. Our shoulders gets bigger. We want to protrude our neck out just a little bit more. We're a bit past our prime. We trim this one up. Compositionally, I think it can make it just a shot better, be a better angle in terms of our hawk and rear ankle as well. We can make them be better. Let's give them a big round of applause as we get ready for our next class.
All right, Jacob Ramos places first in that one. He'll advance to the grand drive. Let's give a quick shout out to one of our big sponsors, LARCC Trucking.
LARCC Trucking is the place to call if you have something to haul. A family-owned trucking business since 2021, LARCC is named after the owner's children, their motivation to create a successful future. LARCC is ready to help you haul your hay, cattle, gravel, or equipment anywhere in southwestern United States. LARCC also buys and sells hay. Give them a call today at 970-274-0826 and get ready to haul.
No.
Here we go, Class 5. Right to left here. Coy Foster, Spur Robbins, Lakin Arnold, Holly Ward. I'm sorry, there's Katie Ward, Holly Ward, Braylee Foster, Charlie Waite, and then Sage Moore. Class 5, all these lambs coming in between 97 and 102 pounds. Heaviest one on the far side, on the left side of your screen. Coy Foster's lightest in the class at 97 pounds. Katie Ward, champion senior showman in this class, right next to her sister Holly Ward. This is Holly's final year of showing. She'll be attending West Texas A&M University. Proud recipient of the Mary John Garay Scholarship. So actually on the microphone also, folks, is Elise Condon, our smooth as silk voice Brody Doherty's off getting some snow cones for us. Elise, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing very well. What's been your 4-H experience this year? What projects have you entered in the fair?
I am involved in quilting, artistic clothing, and baking, and then market chickens and breeding chickens as well.
Excellent. How did your exhibit day projects do?
I think they went pretty well. I didn't lose, which is a good thing.
Well, there you go. There's the first time around taken by the group. Again, now as they are lined up, the heaviest of the class will be on the left, working towards the lightweights on the right side. All right, back at it, folks. Judge making his look again. Heavyweights to lightweights from left to right on your screen. Coy Foster, the first one pulled, lightest in the class. We've seen that as a fairly consistent pattern. Lincoln Arnold next. Sage Moore, then Riggin Mosman. Charlie Waite, Braley Foster, Holly Ward, Katie Ward, and Spur Robbins. I just forgot his name there all of a sudden. Kind of a newer name to me, but the rest of those have kind of the older showmen and ones that have been part of our broadcasting schools we've been covering for quite a while in high school sports. Braley Foster, then Charlie Waite. Now the two Ward sisters at top. Katie got the best of Holly in showmanship. Let's see how it pans out here.
Well, I believe in this class, both of these goats are Holly's goats.
Oh, really?
Yep. They're both listed as Holly's. Katie Ward just must be showing her sisters.
Ah, so Holly Ward guaranteed to make the championship drive in this class.
Indeed.
As you're looking at it, the one on the left shown by Holly is 101 pounds. The one showed by Katie, 99 pounds.
He's just a shot stout or harder in terms of his touch over his loin edge, bigger in terms of his jump muscle than the one there in second. Now, when she gets him stuck and he stops fighting her and that belly comes up and he looks good, that's where it just is so easy for me to use him. So much time during the class, he was wanting to push too hard and drop his belly, things like that. But I still think that one's a good enough balanced one to go ahead and win. The one here in second, I like this blonde guy from a balance standpoint. That is, to me, the better balanced one through his front end. He's fresher about his chest. He's more correct in terms of his length of body and how he combines his hind gut back with his forerib. I think his roundness of cage is maybe just a skosh better. Unfortunately, though, we get a little bit softer to touch. Don't come near as dimensional or expressive as that class winner. If we could come just a shot harder in terms of our muscle shape, our muscle could stand up just a little bit better in them, I think it could be a different story because I love the balance, love the athleticism and the style that this guy has. Man, if he could just come just a shot harder, that's what would have done it for me. But a good job to be in second. Be excited to get them back out here in the champion drive. The one that's going to come in third, a stout rascal. Man, this guy is dimensional up high. He's dimensional down low. Love his shape that he turns to all the way right behind his shoulder, all the way into his upper hip. Awesome in terms of his twist and lower stifling leg. With that much mass and power, we get a little round out of either end. We get deeper in terms of our chest and our shoulder. We're not quite as smooth there. We get shorter about our hip. We don't handle it quite as good as those front two. But, man, a stout rascal. He's going to go to the cooler hanging a big old loin. The one that's going to come in next, one that's on the other side of things. This one is the taller, prettier option. And so if you wanted to switch the pair, I want to argue because I think he fixes himself in terms of his shoulder blade and his length of hip. I like this one's length of spine as well. We just get too peaked for me over our shoulder and back into our loin. We need to come a shot stouter up high. The one that's going to come in next, another one that's on the other side of the spectrum. And hey, if you guys are listening along to the reasons you say he goes from pretty to from stout to pretty, that's just the way that this class falls together. It's always how my opinion works, and I'm not afraid to admit that we're bouncing back and forth because it's how they combine the most good in each particular class. I do think this goat is stouter than the one that just left. Unfortunately, though, it's his issues in terms of his skeleton. It's the issues in terms of his staleness that gets him knocked down into fifth place. If we could come a shot fresher and harder, be tighter about our hide, maybe come with just a shot more in terms of our lower twist to combine with his stoutness up high, we could maybe make that switch. The one that's going to come in next, again, I like this red dappled-eared kind of a goat, okay? That one is good in terms of his front end quality. His neck comes into the top side of his shoulder. He's smooth there, and I think that one works really good. His rib back, that one always wants to fall out of balance, in my opinion. He gets tighter back into his flank. He wants to steep off too much in terms of his dock. If we can make that dock come up just a little bit higher, make him leveler and stouter out of his upper hip, we can maybe make a switch. The one that's going to come in next, one that is the length and extension that I like. I like his height of shoulder. His extra dimension that he has down his spine is very nice. He's two-dimensional from start to finish. We need to freshen that one up. The one that's going to come in next, a very similar kind of a goat. And honestly, these two that are rounding him out, I think are both very similar in that aspect. They're tall-shouldered. They're really good looking. When the young man gets them stuck like that, man, I can like that doe. We just get too peaked right behind our blade. We need to come with a few more groceries, a little bit more time on feed. We're some of the skinnier ones too, and I think at this weight, if we come with a little bit more flesh, we're going to look a little wider down our top. We're going to handle just a little bit better. Let's give them a round of applause as they exit this ring, and we get ready for the last class. Good job, guys.
Class 5 in ninth place, Coy Foster. 8th place, Lake and Arnold. 7th place, Sage Moore. 6th place, Regan Mosman. 5th place, Spur Robbins. 4th place, Braylee Foster. 3rd place, Charlie Waite. 2nd place, Holly Ward. And your class winner, Holly Ward.
Congratulations to that class. One more class to go before the grand drive. Before we do, let's hear from JM Tire.
Keep your car maintained and in good health at JM Tire. Come in for an oil change and let us swap out your winter tires and get ahead of the crowd and service your AC before the weather turns warm. Need more than a tune-up? We are a full-service auto mechanic that can take care of the toughest jobs with honest hands. JM Tire is located in Trinidad, Walsenburg, and Raton, so we're always nearby if you need us. And if you happen to have some bad luck, JM Tire offers 24/7 towing at all our locations. Drop by or schedule an appointment at JM Tire today.
Coming back to the action, folks. Coming out of the gate, we have Lily Amato, Michael Archuleta, Cooper Winter, Braxton DeVolen, Sage Moore, and Brooklyn Winter. This is your heavyweight class. Starting us off, or at the low end, we have 300. Wait, that's the ear tag number. I was going to say a 303-pound goat. I was like, that isn't correct. We have a 103-pound goat. And then topping us out, we have 3 goats at 106 pounds. So these goats probably weigh close to the size of like a 7th grader. Chance.
You know, when we get to the swine show tomorrow, it's always fun to compare various hogs to the size of professional human athletes. We're not quite up there yet with the goat competition. If we did, my goodness.
If you had a goat, because those pigs can get upwards of, 250, 300 pounds. And if you had a goat that size, I'd be a little bit afeared.
Those goats can have attitude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, pigs can too, but, if you keep the long-leggedness of a goat, I wouldn't want to catch, a kick or, chomp from one of those goobers.
All these showmen doing a pretty good job bracing their animals. Judge really taking a long look at Lily Amato's. Michael Archuleta's goat, I thought, did a nice job working for him and bracing well in that first pose.
And like you said in the last round, he's kind of been alternating between the stout animals and the pretty animals. I think you can get judges that are on either end of the spectrum that either always pick the heaviest ones or pick the ones that are the most structurally sound. But I think, like you said, you kind of got to mix and match, right? So whatever one puts together the most complete package, it's kind of the one you're looking for.
Well, and I think it's also the one he's looking for.
Mm.
And, I appreciate when a judge does give us that insight, at least into the way he is processing the class. And as a parent in the stands, as a fan in the stands, maybe as another showman, you may not agree with that, but it's his contest to judge. And I do appreciate when they really take a moment and time to explain their processing. And he has been consistent, I believe, through each class today. So good job to him. Appreciate him coming out today. Michael Archuleta, the first pulled in this class, one of the lighter ones in this class.
This will end up being our last class of market goats, after which we'll have the grand drive. Perhaps the most competitive and selective grand drive that we'll see of the year, or of our fair. Cooper winner also pulled, who I believe is showing the second of Michael Archuleta's 2 goats. Sage Moore is going to end up 4th. Top 3 of Lily Amato, Braxton DeVolin, and Brooklyn Winner. Brooklyn's going to take 3rd with her 106-pound goat.
Particular goat drive, and we get them back out here for the grand drive here in a bit. But these heavyweight boys, man, we got to try to stay as trim and true as possible, in my opinion. I think that this guy right here does so the best in terms of combining enough dimension and power up high with the correct amount of trimness to go ahead and say he's still good in terms of his composition. On top of that, he balances up from his foot and bone all the way to his stout skull. He's good in terms of his proportions, in terms of his body. I like that one to win. The one here in second, when the young man can finally get that one set, I can get wound up pretty good about this guy, because I think that one is maybe just a shot fresher in terms of his chest floor. I think he might be just a shot more expressive sometimes in terms of his hind leg and in terms of his stifle. When we get directly on top of this guy and when your hand goes down for the touch, that's where I get the most disappointed with him, though. He gets to be more mature about his front forerib. He gets to be the most plain about his muscle shape over his rack and loin. He wants to play out there, or I'd like to freshen that one up just a little bit more. The one here in third. Now, I think when the young lady can get this one stuck, I think that we're in it to the end, because that one is fresher. He is trimmer. I do think that one comes with as much loin edge as any of the goats here in the drive. Unfortunately, though, we don't come together in quite as good of a package, so our skeleton's not quite right. We're more open and plain through our front end. Our top line looks more like a roller coaster than it should. I'd like to balance that one out in terms of his spine, level him up, lengthen him out of his hip, and I think it'd help him in the long run. The one that's going to come in next, I think that this guy, in terms of just width and dimension, you can see that from the outside. That one comes with a lot of power from that standpoint. He meets your hand wide all the way down his top. We're just a little bit too past done, okay? We're more 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock than 12 o'clock today, and I think if we could trim him up, make him look just a shot better in terms of his muscle shape, we could make a switch or two. The red one that's going to come in next, that one is a really good-looking one from the side. He's tall in terms of his shoulder blade. He's one that you want to draw into when you stand off to the side. It's that three-quarter view that gets him in trouble from start to finish. He gets the plainest in terms of his forerib. He gets the flattest back, or was one of the flatter ones back into his last rib and then into his pin width. It's this guy, though, that it's that angle right there that got him in trouble right from the beginning. He just reads too nondescript. He's the flat, plain one all the way through. I like him from the side. We just don't have enough in terms of this market show to move up any higher. Let's give them a round of applause as we get ready for our grand drive.
Congratulations to Lily Amato for winning that one. She'll be back for the grand drive. Before we get to the big shifted into overdrive grand drive, want to let you know how you can be a super fan. That's a way you can support what we're doing here on Saddle Rock Sports Network. You can click either of those, scan either of those QR codes, and you can make a contribution to paying these student broadcasters either via PayPal or Venmo. And you can pick any level of support you would like, maybe enough that would have helped cover these snow cones we just finished enjoying. All right, back to it. It's grand drive time.
Class 2, Hope Vernier.
Here
Class
we
3,
go,
Zoro
folks.
Mosman. Class 4,
Always
Jacob
a good
Ramos.
time.
Class 5, Holly Ward. And to wrap it up, entering the mix in Class 6, Lily Amato.
Entering in the ring now are all of your first place finishers from light to heavy.
We've got goats in this class ranging from 67 pounds to 106 pounds. So we'll see what the judge prefers. We're looking for stocky.
Torrenson Roman enters this class with a goat of the weight of 67 pounds. The Class 2 winner, Hope Vernier, opens this class with a weight of 76 pounds on her goat.
Brunelli
In the
liked
third
your
class, Sarah Mosman
assessment.
goat weighs 87 pounds. In Class 4, Jacob Ramos' goat weighs 93 pounds. In Class 5, Holly Wards comes in at 101. And for Class 6, Lilia Matos comes in at 103. Now entering our mix, our second place in our classes. Class 1, Grace Zamora. Class 2, Reed Minsick. Class 3, Katie Ward. Class 4, Skylar Winter. Class 5, Holly Ward. And Class 6, Braxton DeVolen.
It will be interesting to see what the judge selects in this particular class. Sometimes
Our Reserve Grand Champion Market Goat Award sponsor is Comey Funeral Home, Ty and Jen Winter. If Ty and Jen Winter are here today, our representative from Comey Funeral Home, please come forward to present the Reserve Grand Champion Award. And our Grand Champion Market Goat Award sponsor is Sinmar LLC, Mark and Sydney Henry. If a representative from Sinmar LLC are here today, please present the award to the Grand Champion Market Goat. Thank you.
sometimes you can just really pay attention to the comments made by a judge during the early classes. And sometimes a judge will just give a glowing review to the one that will eventually be his grand champion. Kudos to today's judge. I did not pick up on any super glowing reviews. He had very positive things to say about each class winner, but I don't know that just based on his comments, I can distinctly say it's going to be goat A, B, or C.
That's true. And so far, with the exception of maybe Class 2, our judges, he's lent towards the heavier end of the classes. Well, Class 2 and 6, he kind of picked lighter goats. But he had, like you said, he's been very balanced as far as picking pretty goats, picking stocky goats. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for one of the goats on the larger end. You can kind of see a look on his face. It's kind of fun to watch. He's weighing options in his head. And at this point, he's seen goats that he likes before, so he likes bits and pieces of each of them. But how does it stack up against goats with like such different weight classes?
He is really looking at Holly Ward's and Sarl Mosman's. Both of those young ladies doing, I think, a really good job of bracing up and showing off. Look at the muscle legs on the back side of that one.
Those are some pretty half-decent roasts.
He's looking right in on that one. Look at that stance. Look at that butt. Really, I mean.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a big round of applause here for our goat showing out here today. A fun one for sure to work through. A lot of numbers, a lot of good goats, and obviously some classes I take a little bit more time, and I'm not afraid to ask the exhibitor to set up the goats how I like and how I think they look the best. I want each exhibitor to have the best chance. Showmanship is a different deal, but when we get out here, I want to make sure the exhibitor has everything that they can to succeed. And so maybe you saw ringside me talking to them a little bit more about, hey, let's get them popped up, let's let them relax, let's let them do this or that. It's because I want their goats to look the best, because I know how hard it takes to get to this point, how much time it takes to get to this point. And then when we get out here for it all be for naught for me to get one bad look. It just doesn't work for me. And so I want to make sure that these kiddos got everything that they can see. Now, with that being said, obviously I don't have much of a poker face. You can tell it comes down to 3 particular classes. And I think when it was in each class, I thought that it was a little bit closer. We get them back out here to the Grand Drive, and I think that these front row goats are really, really good. I think from start to finish, in terms of the lightweights all the way into the heavyweights, they're stout, they're opened up, they're good in terms of their body shape. They don't all look the same, and we talked about that in a few of those heavyweight classes, maybe bouncing back and forth. But as long as I can explain it, and you see what my thought process is and understand where I'm coming from, I've done my job. And it wasn't out here to make it to be a cookie cutter contest. If that was the case, anybody could do it. And so when I get out here and try to explain what I see, that's why I like to do what I do. I want to make sure kids that are in here in the ring, kids that maybe didn't make it to the ring, I want you to know that you were all seen today. I had a heck of a time with you guys. I had a heck of a time during the Pee Wee show, and we got to make sure that we continue to lift these kiddos up, that we continue to have them come back and make it exciting to come back to the county fair and maybe onto state, national shows, even a jackpot or two, whatever it takes. But if we don't do that, this definitely dies. And there's a few county fairs around here, folks, that are dying, and we got to make sure that we can get them back and that we can continue to do this year after year. With that said, man, I like to go back to these guys and can keep staring them down, and I bet you're placing your bets on the around the ringside. What it comes down to, though, is a champion, and then it's more of a dogfight for reserve in terms of a few particular classes. To draw it out just a little bit longer, because I know we got the time, we're going to talk them real quick, all right? The doe out of Class 1, a really nice lightweight kind of an animal, young man. I think that one's genuine. She's stout underneath. She's good in terms of her skull. I think that one's correct in terms of her body shape. She was bigger pinned than the goat in second. The goat in second was definitely prettier. I like that one from his shoulder blade up. That one's taller shouldered. It was a little bit cleaner there. And so if you wanted to switch the pair, totally get it. The one out of Class 2, man, I think that this one is awfully good. I think that this one, in terms of having the fundamentals, being cracked open and square, but yet good looking and being big in terms of his foot and bone, being fresh and hard as a rock up high, there's not one that you can paint one much up better from a silhouette than this guy right here. The one that was second out of that class. We spent a little bit longer on that particular pair because I think even though the young man might be getting pushed around with his weather, that weather justified to be out here because of his stoutness and power. That one probably pound for pound has as big of a back as anything out here. He's wide and cracked open. He just wasn't as good looking. I think that one come together just a little bit better in terms of his shoulder blade and his chest and got picked up just a little bit better. I think it'd be even more of a dogfight in that particular class. The one out of Class 3. One that maybe didn't scream class winner right at first, but when you say, all right, you step back and understand that he covers the basics, being cracked open and genuine, being correct in terms of his cage, I like that goat. He handles fresh and he handles big from his rack back into his loin. My biggest disappointment with this weather is that he doesn't have the freaky things, if that makes sense, okay? He's not as big-legged as the goat in front of him, and he's not as hairy. Yeah, I know, that sounds pretty ridiculous, but that's what it comes down to. And so it's like, man, if you could come together just a little bit stouter, have just a little bit more bone and stoutness a feature underneath you, I think that it becomes really fun. But that's a really solid goat, young lady. The one that was second out of that particular class, stout and big and ripped up, really like his length of body, maybe takes it just a rib too long. I think if that one could come together just a little bit better, he'd probably proportion up, from the side just a skosh. The one that won in this next class, a very similar story. Maybe didn't scream, hey, I'm the class winner, but I like this doe in terms of cutability and trimness. I think that one handled as hard as any in that particular class. She, too, gets a little bit too frail, like the goat in front of her. I'd like to stouten that one up and just make her balance up in this judge's opinion. The one that was second in that class, he is the stouter option. He is the bigger, freakier one from the side. He doesn't balance up as good in terms of his upper third, in terms of his body shape, and in terms of his chest. He wants to fall out, get a little shorter hip there. The one that comes out of this this next class. For being a heavyweight and being trim and good in terms of our composition, that's one that's definitely in contention in this judge's view. I like that one right at the ground and how dimensional he is. He's pried apart down low. He's dimensional up high. I think every so slightly, though, we talked about it in class, when he wants to push a little too hard, he wants to roach up in his top. He wants to get just a bit more mature about his rib cage and doesn't want to come together just quite as round and barrel-like as maybe a few of those other ones that we were talking about. But I like him in terms of stoutness, cutability. I think that he's definitely in contention because there's a lot of good things going with him. Mass him out in his pin set ever so slightly, and it would be a no-brainer. The one that was second in that class fixed him in a few areas. He was the prettier option. He was tighter about his center body. He was cleaner through his front end. He was on the other side, ran a little bit too narrow and flat for me to get around this monster that won the class. The two that ran our heavyweight class. I like this guy, and as a baby, I bet he had some wild things going for you, young lady, because he is monster-legged. He is big in terms of his forearm. He is massive and cracked open underneath. He is big from behind. We're a little past our prime. We're sitting about 2:30. I wish it was 12 o'clock because it'd be game time. If we could get him better in terms of his center body shape and freshen that one up, man, I'd really light a fire, and this class would get even harder. The one that was second, really good and just a good, solid, fundamental kind of a weather for sure. Like him in a lot of areas. Could be just a shot fresher. Could come just a shot better in terms of his center cage. That's what they look like to me, first through seconds all the way down. I think from that discussion, you know which one I like. It's a dogfight for reserve. Congratulations, Class 2.
Hope Vernier.
Our grand champion is Hope Vernier, popping out into Class 2 for consideration of this final drive. It's going to be with a goat of the weight of 75 pounds, Reed Minsick.
Well, Hope Vernier's had a pretty good day thus far. Won the sheep show, won the goat show. Sarl Mosman gets the nod, and he goes a quick handshake to the rest of the competitors.
Your reserve grand champion, Sarl Mosman.
There you have it, folks. The
May
folks,
the
the
reserve
market
grand champion stay in the ring. That's going to wrap up our market goat show. We're going to go into the breeding category. To wrap up the market goat show,
Let's take just a minute here from one of our sponsors. We genuinely appreciate each and every sponsor today. How about Ogallala Commons, bottom row? Big shout out to Ogallala Commons. Ogallala Commons is a nonprofit based in eastern Colorado and western Kansas, dedicated to helping communities improve their vitality through education, workshops, internships, and helping folks think outside the box to improve all elements of small community life all along the Ogallala Commons, the Ogallala Aquifer region, that is. So if you are looking for a little economic shot in the arm for your small town, for your community, maybe your career itself, find the good folks at Ogallala Commons. You can find them on Facebook or at ogallalacommons.org. All right, back to it, folks. It is time for breeding classes. All right, as the next set of breeding goats comes into the ring, let's bring up our broadcast schedule for the rest of the day. After our breeding classes now, we'll have beef show tonight rather, at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, we get the party started at 8:30 with the Piggly Wigglies, followed by the Rabbits and Poultry at 10:30. Then Saturday morning, round robin showmanship at 9 a.m. and wrapping up the fair, the market sale at 6 o'clock Saturday evening. Again, come out to the fair to help support the kiddos. Bid on something. There are several community pools that you can be a part of if you don't necessarily want to buy a full animal. Again, we will be broadcasting the sale, but it will be broadcast only. You cannot bid online. You have to be a registered buyer in person. Here we have Sage Moore, Charlie Waite, and Hope Vernier.
Ladies and gentlemen, between the gym break, between the goat show and beef show, go ahead on over to the shop here right behind us. They have slushies and cotton candy.
This show right in front of us, folks, this is
Red Rock
Breeding
Sports
Goats
Club
Junior
also has
Does born in
50/50
2026.
raffle tickets, one going on today and one tomorrow. They're also walking around selling candy. So if you see a 4-H'er from Red Ox 4-H Club, ask them for a candy bar or some raffle tickets.
And again, for all of you watching, we appreciate you tuning in today.
Here with our dough show, and man, a really good trio here to start out. I honestly think that any one of these would be a dang good one to put back in the herd. It's the bells and whistles that our black-headed doe does that gets her into the top spot, though. That one's cracked open. She's good in terms of her cage. She's the epitome of balance. That one by far, though, is the hardest in terms of her handle. She's the biggest over her loin edge, and that's why she wins this deal. The one here in second, if you're a balance guy who likes them prettier, I understand it, and that could be your class winner. I wouldn't mind it one bit. I think it's a 2-point cut up top because that one's so unique in how she's stylish through her front end. She's attractive about her head and neck and really good in terms of her balance and angles all the way down into her foot. I think, though, when it comes back to that black-headed one, we just get outmassed and outpowered. I think if we could come with just a shot square in terms of our chest, a shot rounder in terms of our rib, it's game on. I think we breed her to the right buck, and those could be some exciting kids. The one that's going to come here in third, I think that this one it has a leg down on everybody because she's injured. If we get that top line right, she's feeling good, everything's right where it needs to be, I think this trio gets even harder because that one's attractive about her head and neck. She's not trail. She's genuine there down low. She's good in terms of where she ties into her shoulder blade. She's correct in her center body shape. She doesn't feel the best. She's a little bit down in terms of her top line. She doesn't want to set still quite as good. And so I don't think her balance and design come together quite as nicely as I'd like her to see. But that's a really nice doe to round out this trio. Congratulations, young ladies. Let's give them a round of applause.
Alrighty, our grand champion doe was sponsored by Dale and Samantha Yoakum. If they'd like to present the award, please come forward. In third place, our only class in that category, Sage Moore. Second place, Charlie Waite. And your class winner and your champion doe goes to Hope Vernier.
Congratulations to our doe showman.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, here comes Chase Winner in his junior buck born in 2026. This is the last class of the 2026 Los Animas County Fair for your goats.
It's going to be a hotly contested class here, folks. Chase Winner and his young buck.
The grand champion buck sponsor is God's Country for Our Heroes. If God's country for our heroes is present here, may you please come forward to present the Grand Champion Buck Award.
A single entry buck here as we round out our breeding show. One that's stout skulled. He's good in terms of his foot and bone. He's awesome in terms of his hardness and muscle shape. I think we continue to feed on this guy, let him mature out. He's going to continue to put some flesh on him, fill in those extra things that maybe need to come together in terms of top line, but a really stout, rugged, muscular buck that's going to be able to make this kid's next generation even better. Let's give him a round of applause.
Nice job by Chase Winter.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, our Grand Champion Buck goes to Chase Winter. This wraps up
And
the goat
that
show,
concludes the goat show here this year's county fair. A few hours from now, 5 o'clock, will be the beef show. We'll have that for you live right here on the Saddle Rock Sports Network. On behalf of Brody Doherty and Elise Comden, your student broadcasters for the day, my name's Brad. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you here in a couple hours at the fair.